At what age is it appropriate for you to lose your virginity? Yeah, some people say it's God trying to see if you're still stupid. Hey y'all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Miss JD, and I'm here with a very special guest today.
Mrs. Tucker.
Yes, and you are?
Joanna's mom.
Exactly. So, since it's Mother's Day, I decided to ask my mom a couple of questions, and it might get a little spicy, too spicy for her. I'm the queen of making her uncomfortable, so let's get it. Stay tuned, enjoy. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your post notifications. And yeah, first question is, what age am I allowed to date?
When you're mature enough to know the boundaries that you need to keep, and when you've done your homework as far as knowing God first, and also achieving your what can I say, your bucket list.
Okay. Second question is, does race play a factor in who I date?
To me, it's mankind. It's not about race, but it's about finding that someone who's special to you, and who's going to love you for who you are, and is not going to abuse you. We look at today's world, we find a lot of racial discrimination, we find a lot of tribal discrimination, especially here in Zimbabwe. Those are some of the things that you need. So if you are ready for that, then you should be able to date.
Do you have a favorite child?
No. I'll give you an adage of a candle. It's like I have a candle, I light it up, and then I ask the four of you guys to come and light off from my candle. You discover that the flame doesn't end, so it remains the same. I love you all the same. You're all unique individuals.
Was my birth planned, or was it a mistake?
There's no mistake in any... Yeah, there's no mistake.
What happened to you saying one kid?
I actually thought we could have one child. But God has always had His own plans for us, and He gave us 4 beautiful daughters instead of 1. So I'm grateful.
Okay. You tell when I'm lying?
Yes, I can.
What are the telltale signs?
You won't have that confidence when you're lying. When you're telling the truth, you're confidently saying the truth. But when you're lying, no, it's the other way around. So it's easy to pick on it. And even your voice diction changes. So those are some of the things that I look at.
Okay. In today's society, do you believe that girls have to be the ideal housewives, i.e. cooking, cleaning, running a house?
To me, it's finding your calling or your talents. Because if we look at the chefs around the world, those with Michelin stars, you find that it's the men. And the women are a few that have those. So it's like, what is it that you do best that you can complement your other partner to do? Yeah, it's good for you to know how to cook for yourself and to cook for others, because if you don't know how to cook, that means you will be having quite a lot of money for you to buy food and food that's being cooked by other people. And I don't know, I prefer me or you learning at least a skill and mastering it if you can. So for yourself, not for someone else.
So it's not just like based on girls alone, it's both. It should be both
genders.
Okay. Tell us about a time when you were naughty.
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know. Me, I was very vocal from a tender age. I knew what I wanted and I knew what I didn't want. So that meant me telling people the truth. And the times when you tell them that truth, to them it's like, she's very harsh and she's very naughty. Then one time, I'm tall, so when I was in high school, I used to love playing volleyball and javelin. So with volleyball, the teacher was the coach. Unfortunately, he was slightly shorter than me, so I used height to my advantage. Then he blocked the ball with his fingers, and that's dangerous when you have someone who's taller than you. So I really hit the ball hard, and he almost fractured his fingers. I'm sorry to have hurt you, sir. But it was nice. If you're watching, I'm very sorry, but it was entertaining in that particular time because this is a teacher, coach.
Did he challenge you?
He had challenged that, I couldn't. And he would block. And then I took the challenge literally. And I really hit hard. And he was hurt. So, it's one of those things.
Have you ever taken any drugs?
No.
Like, no weed, nothing?
No.
Never tried it? Never had an inkling?
No. Again, the community in which we were living in didn't allow for such. So we grew up because there was that communal responsibility where it took the whole village to take care of a child. So, and there was no much exposure to those drugs that you mentioned, which are available now at each and every corner of the street. So during our time, that wasn't the thing, and the whole community was watching. So you wouldn't want to be in trouble, not with your parents only, but with the whole village.
Ooh, this is a good question. At what age is it appropriate for you to lose your virginity?
Your belief systems sets the parameters. As a child of God, as a Christian, you have values that you need to maintain, and you can only do that when you're married. You can't give the sugar to each and every Jack and Jill. Can you imagine what's gonna happen to you? I don't think that's good for you as a person, as an individual, and also for your beliefs and values.
I'll play devil's advocate here, and I'm gonna ask why. Because usually in the church we always hear like, don't have sex before marriage, but they never explain the why. The why is usually just like because the Bible says. So like, can you delve into that a little bit of
but
why?
What does the Bible say? If you look at Proverbs is full of wisdom. It tells you quite a lot about if I can just not really
quoting it word for word, just summarizing.
I'll just tell you where they say, be proud of the wife of your youth. So that means if you are going to be sleeping around, if I can use that word, you discover that pride, that joy of the intimacy is stolen away. In a nutshell,
Okay. Did you wait till marriage?
It was a must. During our time, there was no option for anything else, and I'm glad I waited. I'm glad I waited.
So what advice could you give to people that are like waiting till marriage, even those that are in like, they're in relationships and both partners are waiting till marriage as well? Like, what advice could you give them?
To me, first formulating a friendship is of utmost importance, because if you rush into sex and then you don't have communication skills that are needed, then by the end of the day, if there's no sex, what happens? You can't communicate, which becomes detrimental to that relationship. Because for you to have a partner, to have a caring person, you need to really understand who you are and also learn about what makes them tick. And you can only learn without compromising your relationship. Because when you defile yourself, by the end of the day, you won't discuss the pertinent issues, of which we are seeing the problems of that in today's relationships.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, communication first. Friends discuss all the hard hitting things that sex doesn't run a relationship only. It's a whole bunch of other things.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. How do you let your partner know that they're not satisfying you?
To do with communication. When you communicate your needs, and then you are able to come to an understanding of what is it that my spouse, we are talking of married people,
Yeah.
what the spouse needs. Because at times, if we can talk of love language, for example, some people would do acts of service when that person doesn't need the acts of service. They need quality time where you spend time with them and the likes. But if you do the wrong thing, that means you're wasting your energy and your time. And then
true.
that causes a lot of commotion in that particular relationship. So communication is essential, and it's very key in any relationship.
Like my mom noted, I think it's very important that you discover your love languages. If you guys don't know what those are, there's 5 of them. There's physical touch, quality time, words of affirmation, gift giving, and an act of service. Exactly. Thank you. So I think it's very important for you to discover like what your love language is. That way you can tell your partner how you expect to be loved, because I don't think your partners are mind readers, right? Like, yeah.
You can't wave the magic wand for them to understand. You have to say, because at times most people leave that to fate, where one has to guess what the other partner's love language is, and that leads to frustration.
100%, yeah. And what are your thoughts on BBLs and plastic surgeries? You know what a BBL is, right?
No, I don't.
BBLs are the Brazilian butt lifts. You know where they take they'll take fat away from your stomach, your back, and then they'll put it into your bum and the sides. Yeah.
So I don't know. It depends, because of my belief system. I'm wonderfully made in the image of God. So when God created me in His image, He said, I'm beautiful. So I'll view myself the way God views me. And those who want augmentation, it's up to them. It's a choice again. When you view yourself the way God views you, then you should be okay.
Yeah.
Because you look at some of them, there have been so much complications that have occurred, and also
people died.
Yeah, it takes quite a lot of money to do that, and
for the good quality ones, some people do cheap, but then it goes bad.
With any surgery, there are complications that are bound to happen, and you can die and you can be maimed. Yeah.
I think don't have them too young. I personally feel like you shouldn't have them too young, because your body changes. I think I've been experiencing like this. I think there's like this womanhood weight where you like grow into your body, and like by the time you finish high school to like college, it's like 25, 18, 19, 20 to 25. Your body is still growing.
Yeah.
And who knows, those hips could come out if it's genetics, if it's not, you know, yeah. My thing is, for me personally, I would say go to the gym. If you can't and it's really affecting you mentally, then go ahead. At the end of the day, it's your body, but I don't know. Just think about it.
Yeah, again, it's what your mindset.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
what you eat and how you take care of your body. Because when your mind tells you you're beautiful,
yeah, no one can tell
no
you
one
anything.
can tell you otherwise. But
Yeah.
if you are going to be told by someone you're ugly and then you believe them,
it,
that
yeah.
means your mind is not right. But again, the word tells us He gave us a sound mind. So that sound mind should help us to know the truth which will set us free. Yeah?
Amen. Okay. How do you tell your parents that you're in a relationship?
At what age?
I don't know. Whatever age. My age. Teenagers.
Teenagers, I would prefer they grow first.
Okay.
And,
but my college to like
College,
early career.
College again, when you're mature enough, that means no one is going to really force you into anything.
Yeah. No.
To know the boundaries that you're going to keep and maintain. So,
like
telling, again, it's individualized. To me, we talk with all of you guys.
Yeah.
So I think I've told you guys that there's nothing that you should hide.
Yeah, just
And
straight up and honest.
yeah, straight up and honest, and also make sure you're ready to answer the pertinent questions that I'm going to ask about that particular person.
Best believe she gonna take you through the whole Bible, and there's a lecture and questions that you won't even know the answer to, and then she'll be like, "You're not ready."
You see, that's my responsibility as a parent.
Yeah, no, I know.
I'm supposed to safeguard the child that you are,
Okay.
so that you grow and mature to be that woman that God created you to be.
Amen. How do you get over a heartbreak?
Yeah, it's painful. This is why it's a heartbreak.
Yeah.
Yeah, but by the end of the day, I remember my brother telling me, my brother Stanley, I hope he's watching. He says, don't put your head and your heart in it. That means be wise. Watch out for the red flags. Don't collect a lot of red flags.
That's true.
Yeah,
Girls tend to ignore. They're blind.
Yes, and at the same time, some of them will always say, I can change him. No one can change a person. Only God can. So if you see those red flags, and red flags means danger, so you keep away from it, and then you won't have much of the heartbreaks. But if it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
Take a day at a time. It's just like Kubler-Ross stages of death, where you go through the process of mourning, accepting, denial, bargaining, and all those things. You still go through that. But the most important thing is finding you in that moment. Because if you allow it to take over your life, you go into depression, and depression, it takes you in another realm which you don't want to be. Yeah. So always know who you are and whose you are.
Okay.
Yeah.
True.
And also learn, because if he wasn't the right guy for you, that means there's something that you overlooked.
Especially if the same type of men or women keep coming back.
Yeah,
you know,
it's just the different names,
Yeah.
but the same character. So that means you as an individual hasn't learned. Otherwise, you have the same John coming in different names.
Yeah, some people say it's God trying to see if you're still stupid. Okay, the last question is, how can you be more open with your parents? You know, there's some kids out there that aren't, you know, as open. They're trying to develop a relationship with their parents. How
Again,
how can they do that?
Again, you millennials are different from us. I'm talking in terms of me as an African woman. With the millennials, you can talk any subject with anyone and everyone. Whereas with us, some of the topics, even the ones that you were asking me, the questions that you were asking, they're taboo to a parent. But because of God's grace, I know that besides me being a parent, I'm supposed to be your counselor. I'm supposed to be your teacher of life, teacher of anything and everything. So it is also in maintaining that open communication. If I find that it's difficult, I can always refer you to someone. But I would rather you hear my view before I take you out in the world. Because if I send you to the world to go get that help, at times it is in the world that you get abused. Whereas if we had that open communication, it could avoid all the other complications that arise.
I think from my end, because I feel like we weren't always as open. I got more open as I got older. I'd like to think, like,
again,
like I would say anything to you, but I feel like I was more vulnerable and, you know, my weird side more like later on. And from as a child, coming from a child's perspective, I think just be open. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? Like,
again, at times you don't understand that you have an open communication relationship with the parents. It is until you hear your friends tell you, "Oh, Joe, I like the way you guys do things."
Yeah,
you know, and then that's when you really value. But at times, because the world is turning around, you get confused. You don't appreciate. This is why I always say wisdom is the beginning of all knowledge.
And also remember that your parents are people too, I think, and they also have like emotions and whatever, and just
but it's part of growing up as well. If you look at a child, they are in the uterus from inception, and then you deliver them, and then they have all these other characteristics that manifest as they are growing, and they find their own oomph. Like you sing, Amal sings, but you have the different setup of music that you guys sing. But when you're singing together, that's when you become one. But as individuals that you are, you realize that it manifests itself in each and every stage of life. It doesn't manifest all at once, but it's a process.
It takes time, exactly. It's a process. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys liked and learned something. Make sure you leave a comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on your post notifications. Also, if you want to see more content from me, follow me on Instagram. It's the same username as my YouTube channel, Miss_JD. Alright, thank you so much, and bye!